Yo, you know what it is, man. The Live is Cloud radio show on the planet, man. Straight from the E-Block Radio, live on your dial. Right this moment, man. It's your boy, the Hood Howard Stern. Q Lewis holding it down from 6 Mile to the Mile High. I got Money holding it down.
Yeah.
For real? And on the block today, man, we got the wordsmith. The speakerist person I know. Speakerist ain't even a word. But I got my man, D Wills, better known as Derrick Williams on the block. What up, though?
What up? You like a Taylor with them words. You feel me?
I know, right?
You scared me sometimes.
Pumping me up.
Dog, I'll tell you the most speakerist person I know, dog. He up in the building right now. And of course, if you don't know Derrick Williams, you're getting ready to know him right now. Yeah. Make sure you check him out on all social media outlets at Derrick Speaks. You see it right there on the bottom of the screen.
Look at his smile and shit.
Right. Take that smile out, right?
I want everybody to see that.
Right, for sure. So D Wills, Derrick Williams, dog. Tell the people a little something about yourself before we get into the whole, shebang of things.
Detroit product. Born and raised. East Side. Product of Detroit. Just different experiences that you grow up and trying to share. Went away to the Air Force. I'm a veteran. Had to serve that time over in the sandbox in Iraq for about 6 months.
Sandbox.
Yeah, that gave me a different perspective on life at that point. And then came back. Went to nursing school. That was something that I always said I wanted to do.
Right. Got
the degree in that, so I'm a nurse right now, but trying to make a transition from that into where I feel like my purpose is, and that's pretty much it.
That's what's up.
Married. I got a 12-year-old.
Okay.
Something possessed me to wait 12 years to do it again.
You got another other way. Congratulations.
That's what's up. So that's what's going on right now.
All right, that's what's up, man. All right, so look, we gonna go all the way back from where you just started. A product of Detroit. All right. So with that being said, a product of Detroit, and then you ventured off into what you call the sandbox. What would you say being from Detroit actually prepared you for being overseas or in that kind of wartime? Did it prepare you?
Oh, no. I wouldn't say it prepared you for war. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, being from Detroit, I think almost handicaps you because people don't realize that we're so segregated. So
until you get out.
A lot of our worldview is so limited. Like for instance, I don't know about you two, but I didn't really have any friends except blacks. I was almost 22, 23 years old. You know what I'm saying? So the worldview of a lot of things that just didn't, I wasn't ready for it. So I wouldn't say it prepared me for that. And actually, as far as fear of violence, maybe they actually use Detroit. And not only Detroit, but our zip code, the one that we grew up in when I was in Iraq. And I was kind of like, dude, how did they use that zip code, man? Where they said in the middle of the war, I was actually safer than in this zip code. And they said it, and I was like, dang, man, that's my so I could have stayed at home to get shot at. I didn't have to come all the way over here to be scared. You know what I'm saying? That I'm gonna die. So
right. Shout out to the 48205, man.
Red zone, baby.
Dog, that is so crazy though. Just to be somewhere where I feel like is a tremendous violent threat, and to think that they think that where we from is worse than that, dog. That's crazy. Yeah. Now I know you said when you got out you went to nursing school and everything. Now, What gave you that? Like, what gave you that premonition that you wanted to go into nursing? Was it just your urge to want to help people? Like, what made you get into that in the first place?
I think it was a misreading of wanting to help people because a part of me, and I think coming from I'm the last of 5 kids, and so I was around my mother a whole lot, and so I think naturally I became a nurturer of people and wanted to help. But sometimes they have those tests. Personality test. Yeah, I think I misread it wanting to go into nursing instead of kind of like using the gift. And I'm sure we'll talk about that later. That I have been blessed with. Yeah. And so I thought there was a couple of people that I knew that were older that were doing nursing. They showed it to me. And then of course, I think just wanting something that I knew was secure and paid a few dollars.
Secure and didn't involve the auto industry.
Right,
because that's all we know. Later, but that's all we know, right?
I definitely want to talk about that, man, because that's a part of what I'm trying to do now. As far as that, we get into that, I guess, here in a sec. But I saw somebody that was doing it. I wanted to do it, and I got into it, and realized that everything ain't what it seems.
Right.
I love helping. I still love. There's those instances where you help a patient and you're like, man, that was a good day.
Right.
But the way that healthcare is set up, man. Nurses
Right, the
are so,
bureaucracy of it all.
Understaffed, overworked. So sometimes if you're trying to actually spend time with a patient, you got somebody over your shoulder like you don't have time to be in there. Just go in there and do this. You got to get out because you got 5 or 6 more things that that you need to do. So that kind of was a little different from the way that I thought it was.
I mean, just piggybacking off of that too, real quick. Not to spin it too far out of the lane, but society's demand on production though. Fuck up a lot of stuff, dog. Yes. Because and the only reason I mention this, I was watching this special on Netflix last night called "Take Your Pill" or something like that. Right. It was about Adderall and stuff. Mm-hmm. How all these students taking all this Adderall, trying to get focused and ace these tests and stuff. Mm-hmm. The demand for productivity, dog, is killing a lot of industries. And now you mentioned it with nursing, and it's everywhere though. The demand for production is crazy.
Well, that's America's
yeah.
Production.
Okay.
Because I lived in Italy for 3 years when I was in the Air Force, and they like at 2:00 we shutting down, going home with our family for 3-4 hours. We open business back up later on.
Oh man.
In summertime, don't go put nothing in the cleaners because they shut it down. It's family owned.
Yeah.
They ain't got nobody else working for them.
Yeah.
That joint might be closed for 2 months until they come back from vacation. And that was another thing that tripped me out about the way that they live, in some other countries. So, we're the home of capitalism. And so capitalism trickles down to that demand for production.
Right.
So that's just our way of life. And we work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At some other places, man, people, and that's why other places people are living longer.
That's what I was gonna say. So you think it's more prosperous doing it like that way? Having some time to yourself, some time to your family?
It depends on your definition of prosperity.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, true that. Yeah, for real. Because for a lot of people, prosperity means working 99 hours and just spending all that money somewhere. But I think at some point though, that demand of productivity is killing us socially though. So you can make all the money, make all the products, and get all the wealth, but then what? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it's necessarily worth it.
You still ain't really comfortable like you want to be. You know what I mean? Like,
no, because the more you work, it seems like the more in debt you get. And that's how capitalism set up, though.
More money, more problems.
They'll market this to you, make this popular, price it out of range. Now you got to work for it. You get it. And then when you get it, this the crazy thing is that you work so hard for something because it has a price tag on it or whatever. Mm-hmm. You get it. Your friends really the only ones that's gonna see it. The people you don't know. Now once they see it, it's exciting for 10 minutes. And it's like, oh man, my man got the new Gucci. Tomorrow they ain't saying nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? Now you done almost killed yourself working for these shoes. You know what I'm saying? Where your job really don't support you being able to purchase that, and the excitement is gone, and then you can't even wear them in every, like in certain weather or certain, you know what I'm saying? The stuff that you really pay for, they only got a limited shelf life on them anyway. So
exactly.
Who decides, man? How do we let them market that to us? Who's making these decisions? But we buy into it.
Yeah, we definitely buy into it.
And when I say we, I mean we.
Yeah, black folks, because we are the world's largest consumers.
Yep.
And it's funny because we always don't have no money for nothing. But so how we spend so much money there? So we got it.
Shopping.
Right. But we never have money for the stuff that matters though.
Yeah, we wear it.
We rather buy fucking Gucci loafers than pay the card note.
Right, they pay a card note, right.
Fuck the card where I get this somehow, you know what I mean? Like,
or even more so than that though, like instead of a car note, why not buy a car?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's so many rich white folks, man, they ain't got no car note. And that's why. That's why, dog. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna ask you this too, D. Will. This is a little off the subject, but I know you mentioned you went to school for nursing. From your experience, obviously you went through the whole school thing, got out, got your degree, got into a profession that you thought you wanted to be in, and not so much at this point. Or I won't say not that you don't want to be in it, but your passion leading you elsewhere. Mm-hmm. But what would you say about school for us, for black people? Like, what would you say? Like, is it a necessity? And the only reason I ask is because school is putting so many of us in extra debt because we was already in debt. Now we in extra debt. Like, what would you say? Like, is school itself important, or is it kind of the social connections you can make?
I think school is, and I think that's one of those things that doesn't fit everybody.
Yeah.
I think for certain individuals, what their talents, what their gifts are, I think depending on what those things are, school is a necessity for certain individuals.
Right.
And then there are some who have a different grind or a different desire or a different set of skills or gifts, whatever it is that they may not need, a degree per se.
Yeah.
What I've realized though is that even outside of nursing, the fact that I'm a black kid from Detroit, from a neighborhood where they didn't expect much, the simple fact that I have a degree gets me respect in different arenas.
Oh.
Just to be able to say it, it does open up doors.
Yeah.
And then there is, I think, a preparation for life that you get from some of the, like from going through the system of getting that degree. There's some other things that you learn, some other things that you understand, like you say, just from the networking,
networking,
or different things, or even just having that structure that you have to say, okay, I know that I have to do things in a certain way, or this is what's required of me. I think it allows you to learn about different parts of the system in that American culture that that we live in, and that you have to be able to navigate. At some point, no matter what you're doing,
in order to be successful.
And so I think there are some things that you pick up that are irreplaceable. Is it necessary for everybody? No, but some people who want to do certain things, you don't have any other way.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to a doctor or engineer, I'm gonna need you to learn them numbers and them sciences.
Shit, the field I'm in, you don't really need no college degree. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is common sense. But I mean, a lot of people.
Well, I ain't gonna say common sense, because you have to have some kind of culinary know-how. Yeah, and some people are kind of born with it. It's just like an artist. Some artists don't have to go to art school; they just got it. And that's the same with culinary people. It's like some people. It's some people who aren't good. Like they not good, and then they go to school and get better.
But then, if I can piggyback on what I said. I agree, like he's saying, you don't necessarily need that degree, but I can guarantee you, if you went to somebody who was like, I went to so-and-so's culinary art school, that's automatically going to open up, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just because of the premium that they put on, on the education.
Right.
The alternative is, I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to grind until somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like they say, work until you don't have to introduce yourself.
Right.
That's an option too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like I say, that's a perfect example that he used, that it's not necessary for everybody, but at the same time, it is a boost depending on where you're trying to go and how far you're trying to go. And in some fields, you don't need it to get into fields, but there is a ceiling without it.
Yeah. I feel you. Now, just to kind of keep going with that, transition into the school and kind of following your passions, because sometimes your passion don't lead you to school. You know what I'm saying? And this is the case, in your situation. So obviously you're classically trained as a nurse, but your passion is in motivational speaking, right? So how do you think that nursing degree helps you in that area, or does it at all?
It does, because on the speaking circuit especially, I've noticed that people always ask, so some people even ask you, what is your degree?
Okay.
And I've noticed that depending on the arena, who's inviting you in what area, the way you can charge, my degree could be in underwater basket weaving. But now I have that, so they feel like I'm qualified to a certain extent to speak to, you know what I'm saying, to people who are, so that's one way that it helps. The other way that I think the nursing degree helps, and this is just for me, especially with me working on the theme of purpose is greater, the degree of difficulty for the degree, again, coming from where we come from.
Right. They don't expect you to make it.
And the chair of the department told me that.
Yeah.
She was like, they say guys who come from where you come from and that look like you, they can't make it. And she was like, and stats hold up.
Yeah.
So come in here and prove them wrong. You know what I'm saying? She flat out said that. So for me going through it and almost pulling my hair out while I'm going through the process, at the end of it, what it did for me is show me you can do, really, after you got that degree, you can do anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you could get through that program the way it was, because you was about ready to scream and go play in traffic a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? If you could do that, then you could do anything. And so right now, in times of making this transition into trying to build my brand, it's not overnight. Hey, sometimes it'll take you 10 years to be an overnight success. And so as I run into those speed bumps and I run into those obstacles and sometimes, get discouraged, I do think back to, how did I feel when I first got into nursing school? How did I feel when I felt like I wasn't going to make it?
Right.
What was the encouragement? What was that process? And then how did it feel at the end? You know what I'm saying? And that's so that's really the biggest help that it's been to me. Yeah. Is just remember, if you could get through that, all the rest of this stuff, man, it's just a matter of how consistent and how hard you're going to work.
For sure. Now that's where your passions lead you now. So talk a little bit more about your brand, which is Purpose is Greater. Talk a little bit more about that. Tell the people exactly like what that is, so they know what we're talking about. Because we know, because we know you.
Yeah, no doubt. Again, and I think you touched on it a little bit, where you said, all we knew was, big three.
Yeah, that was it.
We saw that everybody wanted to, if you graduate high school, go do that. Either you thought you was gonna be playing ball, you thought you was gonna be a rapper,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Or you was gonna be in the game. You was gonna be hustling selling drugs. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we saw. That's
exactly. That was our big three.
So I was blessed to be able to leave Detroit at about 17, 18 and head to Alabama and work with a guy, Eric Thomas. And when we first started working in the school, I was like 18 years old. Got to speak to some students there, and I was like, wow, man. You know, like this was, as we were going consistently, some of the feedback that we got, I was like, dude, I'm doing this at 18? You know what I'm saying? And then we started to travel, and we went to a couple of different places around the country. And again, you got a 17, 18-year-old cat from Detroit traveling the country now because people are like, we love what he's saying. You know what I'm saying? My mentor was like, yo, you're more effective than anybody that I had worked with up until that point. So that's where kind of the passion started. As I got older, and again, you experience life and you leave the environment that you're in. Right. You know, I remember my first time, as a quick example, first time I went to Miami was to speak. We were in Fort Lauderdale, went to Miami, and I'm like, from Detroit, I thought Miami, like the stuff that you saw on TV, was just like Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, they pumping this up. But then when I went down there, it really Detroit, is like Detroit, that. You got a Cadillac. You the man. Yeah. Down there, they was pushing Cadillacs off the curb. Like, no, my man is really driving a Ferrari. Like it's an everyday car. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, this is real life. But I hadn't seen that because I hadn't been out of that, out of the immediate environment a lot. Right. So when I started speaking, I, got grown, got married, had a kid, and then divorce happened. And so when the divorce happened, I was away from friends and family because I was still in the Air Force. I was in Oklahoma, and it was very devastating to me, to the point that, and because I called you a couple times, we used to always be like, man, ain't nothing big enough to make me think about committing suicide. Man, these fools crazy. But then I understood when I was in that situation. Yeah. And so I was talking to my mother, and it was late one night, and I remember she said, Derrick, you used to be speaking, you used to be touching lives. People love when you come and you use your gift. And she was like, I know you're thinking crazy right now, but I want you to remember that your purpose is greater than the circumstance that you're in right now. And I was like, wow. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that really
stuck with you.
And I was like, I got to get back in there. You know what I'm saying? I got to get back in there. So got out of the Air Force. Yeah, man, it was crazy. I was at a low place. Yeah. Man. Some dudes be like, man, when I got divorced, man, I was like, man, F that chick. No, nigga, I was like, please, baby, please. Please don't do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was hurt. I was devastated, man. I was hurt. And so when she said that to me, your purpose is greater than the circumstance you're in now, I was like, wow. So I got out of the Air Force, got into nursing school, and then I started speaking again. And I wanted to start sharing that message with people who I saw were either discouraged or who hadn't really found it, or who felt like, like I have a gift, I have a desire, I know what my purpose is, but they felt like it was impossible to reach it. Right. The other thing that purpose is greater, one of the passions that it comes from, is to come back to those kids that are from where we're from and show them somebody that looks like them in those areas, that work in those areas that they're not familiar with. Right. We don't know black accountants. We don't know black physical therapists. We haven't seen black, and everybody just say Dr. Lawyer, but you know what I'm saying? It's like a whole lot of stuff out there that we're doing that they don't know about. We think, and when I'm going into the schools, I'm realizing this more and more as I talk to some of these young cats that they don't know about speech language pathologists. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like a lot of these things. So
they don't know about writers.
I want to show them those things. Yeah. And show them that their purpose is greater than the neighborhood that they came from. It's greater than, the circumstances, greater than your daddy not being there. It's greater than your mother being on drugs. Your purpose is greater than, you living next to 3 burnt out houses and having to walk past those, back and forth to school every day. Yeah. And show them that there are people that look like you in these fields. Why? Because, and I want you to hear this and everybody that's watching, you cannot desire what you don't know.
Yeah, no, that's the truth.
You can't want what you don't see.
Because you ain't never seen it, right? Yeah.
You can't, and so that's where that's coming from. I'm trying to get other young black professionals to go with me into some of these schools in these neighborhoods and show them that. Yeah. But also people who have been chasing and they've been discouraged, to tell them, hey, you hurting, you hit a brick wall, you it's painful, you crying, your bank account empty, your purpose is still greater than the circumstance that you find yourself in right now, and that's what I'm trying to speak to.
It's funny though, D. Mm-hmm. You said you was in a situation when you felt like, like with the divorce and everything, you know what I'm saying? Like, at what point, like, you motivate people. Like, when you talk, motherfuckers sit there and listen.
Right, you motivate people.
You motivate people. Like, well, was that what she said motivated you to get out of it, or you motivating yourself? You know what I'm saying? Like, throughout
What you
the
mean
process.
what my mom said to me then?
Yeah.
Probably what she said was probably more like the slap in the face
yeah.
to wake you up, and then, you know.
Yeah, it was, you know, there's a reality to that situation in that what she said made me realize you do have a gift, and you walked away from this thing.
Yeah.
For whatever reasons, you know what I'm saying? And I am a believer, so I did feel like God was also speaking to me saying, you don't have the right to walk away from what I blessed you with. Everything that you want to do, and even going through nursing, I'll fast forward and then jump back to answer their question. Even going through nursing school, there was a part of me where God was like, you can do that if you want to.
Right.
I'll give that to you. But you never stop doing this, because
right.
this is what you. And now, where did I get that from? Because when Mom said your purpose is greater, she said, because I'm the youngest again of 5. All my brothers and sisters are steps. I'm 8 years, it's like 7, 8 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
So before my pops died, I interviewed him, and my mom was like, "So what was y'all thinking when y'all found out that you was pregnant?" You know, and my father looked at my mother and was like, "Well, you want to tell him?" She was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "You don't remember what I did?" She was like, "No." He was like, "She told me that she was pregnant. I took the chair in the dining room, picked it up and threw it down, and the leg broke." So
you did a James Evans.
Yeah, so check out the story though. This is what tripped me out, and nobody really heard this besides my parents. This is the first time I'm telling somebody this. So
exclusive.
She was on birth control because they were done having kids. But when my brother, the one Mike, who was before me, when he was born, she in the hospital. She like, "Hey, let's shut the factory down." She was like, "I'm done." Well, back then you had to have your husband sign so that you could get your tubes tied.
And he didn't.
And he was like, "Well, no, because I don't know. We might want some more kids."
Yeah.
Well, he didn't think 7 to 8 years. Like, they just never revisited that. So he was like, I thought she was taking birth control, this and that, but she got 4 kids running around the house. It was around. I'm born in October, so it was around Christmas time.
Right.
You know, she got caught up in the holiday. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff.
Right,
and just got busy. And then, you know, it was like, ooh wee. So several months into the pregnancy, she said she remembers. She was frustrated. He was frustrated. They like, what the heck? And she said she remembered. She knelt down on her knees in the kitchen, in the middle of the kitchen, and put her hand on her stomach and said, "Lord, I don't know what's going on. I don't even know why I'm pregnant or why we did this, but I want to give this one. Out of all my children, I want to dedicate this one to you from the womb, and please do something special with them." Damn. And that was the other part of the story that she told me, and that's when she led up into and your purpose is greater than the circumstance that you find you, because I dedicated you to God before you were born.
Yo, that's deep, bro.
Yeah,
yo, that's deep.
Right. That shit's scary.
It's scary and so deep, right?
I got chills and shit.
No,
like,
for real though.
Damn.
No, that's what's up. So that means if you don't fulfill your purpose, man, you a for real failure.
No doubt. And that also means that, again, if you're a believer, and for those who are, you hear me and you like, I know you're gonna say amen. When there's a path that your life is supposed to go down, man, and it's set up, there are things in that path that once you get in there, stuff just starts to work out. But when you veer away from that path, life gets hard. Life gets a little difficult.
Right.
Things don't work out. And I was in that area,
you
know, at that time. And then, you know, the divorce happened. And then, you know, I'm like, how am I going to live without her? You know, my child, you know, my daughter, how am I going to live, you know, separate from them?
Yeah.
And God was showing me, I got your daughter. Don't worry about that. You're going to be back with her. I need you to get up. And I need you to move forward and get back in line, because the blessings are down this path. You know what I'm saying? The lives that you're going to change are down this path. You should have never took your behind into the Air Force.
You should never did
I
it.
never had that for you. That ain't had nothing to do with what I was trying to do. That took you, it took you away from the path. You know what I'm saying? Because then you out the country and you ain't speaking to the people that I wanted you to speak to. He was like, get back, use this gift. And in the Bible, it actually says that your gift will make room for you, man. And every time I use this thing, it just opens up more doors, whether it helps somebody else or whether it puts me in a better position to use it to propel myself. It's just like, I got you, but stay consistent with it. And that's what I'm struggling with now, is the consistency and find that direct path and correlate that with everything. But yeah, I gotta fulfill it, man.
Yeah, you got to.
You know, it was before I was
right before you was even out here. Before you was out here for real.
That thing was set out, man. So,
right. Yo, that's deep. Hey, but you know what? On the strength of that, though, you know what I'm saying? Your mom's is a super prayer warrior, though.
Oh, no doubt.
Shout out to your mom's, dog, for real. I'm talking about, she got God everywhere with her. Everywhere. Yeah. And I love that, though. And that's
like she got it so much, she be so busy talking to God, you wave at her, she won't even look over at you. Won't look over at you, you know what I'm saying? She focused, man.
She focused.
Keep keep going, baby.
Nah, that's too funny though.
And then when you sit down with her, she's the sweetest thing in the world.
For sure. Always, man. Always. So look,
and she make good scalloped potatoes.
Oh man, scalloped potatoes.
He just messed up the whole interview.
Oh
He can't even function. He can't even function.
I want some of those so bad.
And she makes some good taters.
Them taters was good.
Taters.
Right. Hey, so all right, now I know you said you hooked up with Eric, early on. You 17, went out and did some gigs, but like, what really like are there any people in particular that inspired you though, like that said, made you say, what, I can do this, other than the fact that you actually went out and just rocked some crowds and you got that feedback? But like, was there any speakers in particular that you was like, you know what, I think this is what I want to do?
Not outside of him, man. That's been pretty much my biggest inspiration.
Okay.
My biggest motivation, mentor, actually set an example. And here's why. Mm-hmm. He's from Detroit.
Right.
He came from the situations similar to what, what we came from. And the other thing is that I saw when he started how it took years, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, for him to get where he was. And he just never wavered. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that he gets on me about now is, D, you got the gift. Bro, you got it. And then you can add the singing to it. He was like, you a little deeper than I am.
So you can bust out and start singing. Right.
Like, but you have to work a little harder and be a little more consistent with what you're doing, and people gonna hear about it. He like this, and he used an example. He was like, it's probably a bleach out there, man, that's better than Clorox, but nobody knows where.
Ain't nobody heard about it.
It ain't on every shelf. And he was like, so you have to stay consistent, because that's what people want, is consistency. And he was like, and I think once you get that, and so that's what I'm working on now, is just consistently putting content out, doing things, and actually not just speaking about what I want to speak, but I'm asking people, and I'm looking at the world, looking at what are people struggling with, what's some of the biggest downfall, and then speak to that, and not just try to speak to it generically, but organically from an experience that I've had. I'll never talk about something just to be trying to motivate somebody, but I want to talk about things that you may be dealing with that I've experienced, because now it's a whole different passion on it. Now you hear it in my voice. People are like, man, you really hit that, man. Because I ain't talking from a book.
Right, I'm coming from the heart.
From my life.
For sure.
I know that you're dealing with this because I'm dealing with it. And music soul child. Y'all like, where he going with this? When he first came out, all his songs, I was like, yo, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying to this chick. I actually said that to somebody one day, and that's how I liked him. And so that's what people are saying. Yo, I know exactly what you're saying, man. Like, I've lived that. And I'm like,
because they can identify.
I know you have, because I'm speaking from my experience. So
exactly.
That's what I'm trying to do, man.
And it just reminded me of a time that I've went out to and I've watched Derrick speak. And he threw me in there. Like, he threw me in the whole little sermon. Like, I had a situation where I got shot. And, I'm sitting there. I didn't know he was going to do this. Honestly, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, he good for that. He good for that.
I didn't either. I didn't know either.
I didn't know he was going to do that, though. But he just threw me in there, you know what I'm saying? And then it kind of touched me, bro. Like, this is the only dude that almost had me in tears with words. You know what I'm saying? Like, other than my daddy, when he used to say, I'm going to whoop your motherfucking ass.
Wow.
Hey, straight up, you know what I'm saying? It's the only dude that almost had me in tears, and you know what I'm saying? And that right there, honestly, he don't even know it, though, but that honestly motivated me, you know what I mean? Like, to get out here and, like, dude, that's what makes me want to do my own thing now, you know what I mean? Like, situations like that, because you don't know how long you're going to be here, you know what I mean?
No, you don't. You have no idea how
long you're going to be here.
And look, just like you said, though, this is the truth, though. And I, like, when he do events and I tell people about it, I take them with me, I always tell them, like, I want you to know sincerely that my dude is the shit. Like, for real.
Wow.
But then I be like, I want you to know that not because he my homeboy, but because he really is the shit. Like, people have to see, though, because you know how sometimes it's the homie, you know what I'm saying? So they probably bigging him up. He from their same neighborhood. Like, nah, bro.
This motherfucker almost had me in, like, tear, like,
because
one came out, like, trying to suck that motherfucker back in. Trying to suck that motherfucker back in my eyeball, like, oh, I'm a G.
Right, because you know how we are, though. We from this block, dog, and I don't know if it's like this on every other block or in every other hood, because we swear that we different. But over here, dog, we gonna tell you. If you whack, we gonna tell you, dog. Wow. And it's like, you go deal with it and you go fix it. I ain't gonna just tell you it's whack. I'm gonna tell you, like, maybe you should do it like this. And I could be wrong. But I'm gonna tell you though. So I'm never gonna tell you like, dog, you a dope ass speaker and you not. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna tell you a dope ass, you know what I'm saying, cook and you ain't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna do it. So that's why when I tell people, I'm like, dog, my man D gets busy, and then people go see for themselves. They like, dog, no, he the truth for real. And then you know what they ask always, D Will, this is what you ask yourself. Dog, why he ain't out here more? That's what everybody say. Like, dog, how come I ain't heard of him? Dog, you gonna hear about him though. And that's what your struggle is now though. Wow. It's getting out here more, and that's what people want though.
Consistency. He's safe. He's lacking the consistency. Yeah. He's working on it. You know what I'm saying?
Cause once people get a taste of it, dog, they want to know what's up. Like, dog, where you gonna be at next? You know what I'm saying? Like, he got a book. Do we got a book?
Yeah, I got a chapter that I've been sitting on about 2.5 years. Doggone it. They recall it. They just exposing all my little chapters here today, man.
Right, that's how it's supposed to be.
He said, I'm going to tell you whack. That's just like that ugly baby where people like, ain't she cute?
Like, no.
That baby got some big old cheeks, girl. You don't want to say that. Look at
well, say something that's true. Like, they is big cheeks. She ugly, though. All right, so we already admitted, like for real, like, we already know you dope as a speaker, but has anybody hit you like that? A speaker that you went to go see, other than E who inspired you, but like, have you heard anybody else speak where you was like, dog, like you caught it, like you really felt it? And I asked that because a lot of it's like basketball players and athletes and shit, they never really give credence to other players. So like, is there anybody that touched you? Like,
I don't think it's anybody that I've gone to hear that was like boom, but. Man, Les Brown, dude.
Yeah, okay.
And Les Brown don't even get hype.
Yeah, just talking.
But when he's speaking, he feel like you sitting at his feet at a fireplace, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
make you comfortable.
Like he could, and I feel like if I ever met my man, he could tell me to my face, and I'd just be sitting there smiling like, you're not working hard, you're a loser. And you really need to do better.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And I just be like,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. I know, because that's the control that he has and the words that he uses, man, and the stories, his whole method, everything that he does, man, the more I listen to Les Brown, man, I'm just like, dude, I really can't do anything, man.
Right.
And people be coming to me like, why you need him to inspire you? And even my daughter said it to me one day. I was upset about something, discouraged, just messed up, man. My daughter, this was a couple years ago. She's 12 now, so she was like, I think she was like 8 or 9.
Okay.
And she in the car, and I'm like, I'm mad. And my daughter said, how you gonna motivate other people when you can't motivate yourself?
Wow.
8, 9 years old, man.
Yeah.
All the kids
I pull the car over like, wait a minute.
Hey, girl, I'm about to take. You right.
You right now.
You right now.
Drive.
Matter of fact, you need that.
Right. So I was like, wow, but yeah, man, Les Brown, man, is to me, man, in my generation, he the godfather of this game, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's so much to be, and if you listen to any speakers today, man, you can listen to 1, 2, or 10 guys who are doing it today, and they've borrowed or they've repackaged something from Les Brown in some shape, form, or fashion.
Right. Man, that's crazy though. Cause I was just wondering, cause I know like being a speaker and you being inspirational to other people, I just wondered was there somebody in particular that influenced you. And you said Les Brown. Now you've never actually heard him speak in person.
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. All right, is that something that's on your bucket list?
I don't want to hear him speak in person.
You just want to talk to him. Yeah, right.
Like, I would love to be in the audience while he's speaking. Yeah, that's something that I want to do.
But you want to have open dialect.
I want to meet my man.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
for
saying?
sure.
And be like, yo, Les, what up? And somebody else, man, who was a big inspiration, not so much just in as far as their motivational speaking, but the messages that they put out.
Mm-hmm.
People say what they want, man. But Bill Cosby, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to explain this.
You
got to explain this.
You don't, man. You really don't.
You don't think so?
No. My man put the premium on education and challenged the some of the shortfalls that we have in our communities, man. He always challenged the things that we faced as good or being hood rich, whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He challenged that, man, and placed the premium on education, and then he showed us what that home can look like from a young, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From when you was young. So yeah, not only did he show us what the home looks like with a black strong presence, as a doctor, wife is a lawyer, so they wealthy black family, with kids, and he dealt with some of the issues that we all deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Still.
From whether it was kids or whether it was adults. He was talking about some of the things, dietary needs, some of the health stuff that black men were going in. And this was back in the day. Not only was he killing it with that, but then this Negro did the spinoff on A Different World. Who knows how many lessons we learned from that?
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
And people erase that from all of what the media say, and that man laid a fucking foundation out,
a strong
foundation out for
one.
and people just strayed away from it because of some shit somebody else said. You know what I'm saying? They said a lot of things about people. They said shit about Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They found something wrong with him. They tried to.
They tried. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So. You know what I mean? That's what irritates me, though. Sometimes, like, I still fuck with Bill Cosby. I don't care if he did, lay the pill up.
Well, I care if he did do that.
I don't think he did. You know what I mean?
I care. If he did or he didn't.
Yeah.
I've done some Grammy stuff in my
life.
You don't just put a butt behind everything he did because of that one thing and erase everything.
Erase everything
I was
else.
just like, no lie. I was just watching A Different World on the marathon about 3-4 days ago, and my wife walked in and sat down and was like, "Wow, I can't believe." You know what I'm saying?
That y'all had that.
She was just listening to it like, man, they was really talking. I was like, girl, you don't even know.
They was talking about real stuff.
You don't even know, huh?
They was talking about real stuff.
27, I got a PYT.
Yeah, pretty good. PYT.
Hey, you trying to figure out why she ain't know, huh?
Why she ain't know like
that? And plus, she ain't from here. She ain't from here. That's what I was thinking. She ain't from here.
I mean, they ain't had Cosby in the Caribbean?
Hell no, probably not.
There's a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of stuff they lacking. Hey, don't tell them that, though.
They had a couple channels, but I don't think like A Different World, because when we talk about it, she wasn't on it.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about Different World, that touched so many things. They even talked about HIV, though. And like a lot of people even was like that was the whole reason they even thought about going to college, was because you seen black college life. And I mean, that for me, that was the same thing with school days. So that's why I got that. Right. Well, yeah, they did though. They did all that stuff though. You stupid though. Trife, man. Hey, but look too, and then I just had to re-verify that real quick on Google to make sure. But also, Bill Cosby wrote either the foreword or the introduction to one of Langston Hughes' poem books too. So I mean, I think that's the first place, because I couldn't remember exactly. That's why I had to Google it right quick to make sure I wasn't lying. But yeah, definitely wrote the introduction to The Block, which actually is where I got my influence to write poetry, was from Langston Hughes. And so Bill Cosby, you right, come from a long ways back trying to get us in line. Him and Sidney Poitier. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you got some you got an asterisk.
Don't sleep on Fat Albert either, man.
Fat Albert.
For real. Don't sleep on Fat Albert.
Teaching lessons.
Put some kids on there that look like us, big lips.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't sleep on Fat Albert.
Like us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. A fat kid in the neighborhood.
Yeah, man.
This was our Fat Albert. Y'all looking at our Fat Albert.
I know, Derrick. Yeah, I know, right? I was skinny then. We switched places. Derrick was fat. Yeah, right. If you know us, you already know the for real. All right. So this is what we want to talk about too. So you got your inspirations, the people that Les Brown is one of the people you would like to have a conversation with. If you could, dead or alive, dog, top 3 people that you would want to have a conversation with. For whatever reason, not just to motivate your career, but just the top 3 people, dead or alive in general, that you would want to sit down and have a real conversation with.
Malcolm.
Yeah.
Malcolm X probably be for me definitely man a big one.
Yeah.
People might not like this man, but Kobe, dude.
Yeah. He's like, people might not like that. Why not?
They're gonna be like, what?
Why?
Dead or alive, and you go Kobe. But Kobe, if you watch, man, just from when he first came into the league, the thing about Kobe is that there was this fierce, you know what I'm saying? Fierce, I have to outwork you. You know what I'm saying? And he had an interview where he said it. If I get up at 4 and train, and somebody else getting up at 6, I'm going to be better than them. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then every season, no matter if he had won a championship or not, every season he was looking at other players like, let me add this to my game. You know what I'm saying? So even though he was like, I'm pretty much the best. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There is. He was still like, I got to come back and do something, do something better.
And that's what always made me feel like he's better than LeBron.
That's what made me feel like he's better than a lot of people, man. You know what I'm saying? So I would say Malcolm, definitely, just because I don't even have to explain that. There's just so much you can get from that.
For sure.
Definitely Kobe. And a third, man, somebody who I could talk to, dead or alive, man. Who would I sit down and talk to? Pac.
Yeah.
Pac.
Yep.
You would want to. If I was talking to Pac, I would want to know like where his true intentions lie, because you can tell, like, I don't know, you can tell what his original intentions were, but then it kind of got washed away when he went out, to the West Coast and shit.
Life.
Yeah, life happens.
Did they get washed away though, or was it kind of contractual to where he had to live a certain image? Because we done heard different stories, but even though he started looking like he was living that flashy life, if you listen to his music and some of the stuff that he recorded that he was gonna release even after that,
he's still the same.
It was some stuff that you was like, oh shoot, you know what I'm saying? Like, because before he went out there, he still had the album Thug Life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He was still saying he was a thug, and that was
True
stuff
that.
that was entertainment. And he himself even said, this is what I had to use in order to get to where I was trying to get. So even though he out there with Suge, and he wilding on death row, and we think he crazy, because they telling us he crazy.
Because they tell us he crazy.
He's still building a school. He's still giving computers to complete neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Stuff that he was doing that you was like, oh, my man might not be what they trying to make us think he is. You know what I'm saying? But they didn't show us that, man.
Right.
They didn't show us all of that stuff. They showed us,
he
out here, he got shot, he didn't. And then, do we know who killed him? Was it the feds because of his power? Was it this person? Was it just, a street? Do we even know that? You know what I'm saying? So
we know the LAPD did it, but we don't know who laid who made the order.
Or if they didn't do it, they got some kind of connection. That's why they don't want to.
And I don't want to talk to my man because he died 95.
Yeah,
and he was
96.
95, 96. He was 24, 25. And you listen to his music, and one of his songs came out on the radio today. It was still relevant at 24. And I look at my age now, and I'm like, dude, at 24, was I even thinking?
Not at all. Like, advanced to a different degree. So I can definitely understand you on that. Cause what I do with Pac, because we had these conversations often, and I will always tell you that I like Big more than I like Pac. I'm always tell you that. But with Pac though, I think the thing is, what I equate Pac to is, this might sound weird too, is the Harlem Renaissance, right? So I think of Langston Hughes. I think of James Baldwin. I think of those types of people when I think about Tupac, only because his message is so beyond his time. And I think their message was beyond their time in the Harlem Renaissance. I think every generation you get those few artists, and I use the word artist because, that could be like drawing artists, writing artists, or performance artists. I think you get those artists that actually do transcend time, no matter what age they are. And I think that's what he did. So yeah, definitely, I can feel you on that. So that's your three right there. Yeah. What would you what's the one consistent question you would ask each of them though? I ain't mean to stump you, but I just want to know. Like one question that you would ask all three of them.
What drives you?
Yeah. Right.
What drives you? Because all three of them were very. Well, I don't say were, because Kobe's still alive.
Still alive, right?
all three of them, the thing that was consistent across the board with them was a unrelentless passion to do what they set out to do.
For sure. Damn, that is true, though. Damn, that's some good shit right there. We're going to use that as a soundbite. No, that's the truth, though. No, so, sorry, let's move past that and start looking into the future. All right, so you got Purpose is Greater, right? That's the brand. So what's going on with that next? Like, so you're doing speaking events. You got merchandise? Like, what's going on?
We're working on the T-shirts right now.
Okay.
I had one to show y'all today, but it was a little small. But we're working on the T-shirts just for brand recognition, man. And also, sometimes when you're going to schools, so that you can leave something behind, not just to sell this merchandise for a profit, but also so you leave something that's a lasting, that's a lasting image of the work that you did there.
For sure.
Something that people can look at when they run into those walls and be like, hey, I remember this. So, you put that shirt on. I got a couple Nike shirts, man, with quotes on them. When I'm wearing them, I'm like, I like that quote. Okay, today gonna be a good day. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Today gonna be a good day. So we're definitely working on the T-shirts, and just to be more present for me when I'm somewhere too, or if I'm doing some content that'll be on social media for to build up brand recognition. Also, we're trying to start working on conferences, and there are talks right now to try to set up a Purpose is Greater university. Online, which we want to create an environment. We want to create an environment for people who need that, that inspiration, but also not just need inspiration, but if I have a guy who I know named Shaman who saying I need, that accountability group, so I want to be a part of Purpose is Greater University, and he's got a list of gifts that are A, B, and C, and then I know a guy named Quincy who is also saying I need that inspiration. I've got a list of talents. Now, maybe as you all get involved in a university, you meet somebody who actually has a set of skills that can help you, I'm saying, reach that next level, and then this person can help, what I'm saying? It's just like mutually beneficial. So, but mainly something to where people can come, get that inspiration, get that motivation, and get taught, what I'm saying, the things that I've learned from other people, start to share that with them, and actually propel people to, to that height where they need to be. So that's something that we're working on. Okay. The other thing is we trying to work on conferences, which are actually my man TJ Tyus started his
shout out to TJ
Fit University, and started doing these conferences, which is a brand new conference where you're not just speaking to people. We come in, share material, and then afterwards, because he just caught Diesel, he has a workout portion, and we haven't seen any conferences like that. So he has a workout portion that is at the end of the conference. You know what I'm saying? He like mind, body, and spirit. So he like, we're gonna
get it all together.
So after we finish this and y'all are psyched up, let's clear everything out of here. He got a personal trainer coming in and do a workout session. And ain't nobody doing that. So he came up with that idea. I was like, I think you got one. So I'm working on a conference with him, and also trying to figure out what's the best approach for me to start doing the Purpose is Greater conferences. So those are the couple of things that we're working on. Right now, a lot of my time is going into School Days with ET. Please check it out. School Days with ET. My man, my mentor, I believe in what he's doing. Yeah. We got .org right now, schooldaysfoundation.org, where we asking people,
schooldaysfoundation.org.
Okay. We asking people to go on there and help donate, because we're trying to change the way education is done, man. We got kids who are going to school, and some of the teachers have been doing this for years, and they saying I'm not effective anymore. But when you guys come in and do what you do, the students are responding. So we want to be a resource for, because
they going to school and not getting educated though.
Oh yeah. And that's what we're trying to do, is change the approach. And so we know that when we come in, we know they're going to listen to what we're doing, because we've been doing it for a long time. Right. But we want to be able to come in, install something, and leave it so that it's a program that everybody can work with, and the results don't change if we're not there, but you can always reach out to us. So we come in and work with the students. We teach the teachers. We want to, actually change, man, certain curriculum, and be a support system for those, for faculty and staff, because some of them just simply, man, one class I'm working with right now, man, the teacher, she just don't know what to do. When I come in, you think she just saw her husband that was deployed for 2 years. Man. She was so happy to see when I walk in, like, you here today? Thank you so much. She go sit down with the students, like,
don't know what else to do.
Take over, do whatever you want to do, take it,
Wow.
And so that's what we're doing, man. That's one of the biggest things right now. School Days with ET. I'm working with my man, and this it's been some great stuff done, and we're trying to take it nationwide, man, to where any school that needs us, we'll be able to reach out and help them in some shape, form, or fashion.
Dog, that's dope. So what's that website again?
schooldaysfoundation.org.
All right, bet. That's what's up, dog. With that in mind too, though, it's like that's beneficial for everybody. I mean, obviously it's gonna be beneficial for the kids because it's directly their education, but it's gonna be beneficial for the faculty again, because they learn some new ways to communicate with these kids, because the community has changed, and so communication has to change. And a lot of these teachers, like you said, they so old, they kind of stuck in their ways, and when stuff don't work, then they want to complain about how they not getting paid enough to do such and such. But then if you re-educate them, then that's gonna work out for them, so they learn how to communicate, which is gonna make the school better, which is gonna make the state better. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all a trickle down. Like it's a great thing.
Well, that's what I'm telling some of these students now. They don't. It's not quite clicking with them. But with, you use Detroit as an example, we know that it all started downtown Detroit, and then everybody's saying, why is it not trickling out into the neighborhoods? And the one thing that they finally came out and said, which we knew, I knew it was going to come out, but the one thing that they're saying is Detroit cannot, as a whole city, cannot come back unless we do something about the schools.
Right.
Because people don't want to go nowhere, they can't put their kids. And so I'm in school. I was at Southeast and a couple other schools that's like in the, in the hood. And I'm telling them, like, y'all looking at what Dan Gilbert doing, which is amazing. Y'all looking at some of the changes and stuff that some of these people are doing, but the city can't go nowhere unless you do. You know what I'm saying? They dependent on you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They want you to start performing so they can say, look, the schools are changing.
Exactly.
So now, if the teachers can't do it, if Gilbert and the mayor, they trying to do stuff but they can't do it, who does that leave? Your boy!
School days with ET. No, that's what's up though. So how many right now? Is a whole group of y'all, or like how's it working right now?
Yeah, we got right now, especially in Lansing, there's a school, Sexton High School, that was one of the pilots.
Okay.
There's a couple of guys that's going other places on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going up to Sexton, adopted a class up there, and we're trying to collect data, from that school, showing how it works.
Right.
And teachers, everybody, man, the coach up there, principal, even some people that didn't want us there at first, they like y'all. These kids, they love y'all.
Now, is this
what's going on. So,
is this for like all schools, or is like public schools or any charter schools? Whoever
calls.
Okay.
And there are calls and there's a need in all kind of all kind of schools. And that's one of the things that really bothers me is that when people say, "Oh, we're a charter schools," just because you labeled as a charter school doesn't mean that your kids, the kids that you have, their change. Or exactly. Your teachers are it's the same kind of teachers, you know what I'm saying? It ain't
still in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, it ain't like y'all went through the Avengers course and now you Iron Man teachers, you know what I'm saying? And something just changed. And so they any schools, man, that call, and we actually not even at least from what I understand, they're not even just focusing on individual schools, but we're trying to like have districts call so we can really get get into the schools and just help as many people as we can, especially the students. And some of them showing them again what they don't see, so that they can desire what they don't know right now.
Man, that's what's up, dog. I'm excited about that though, and a lot of parents should be excited about that because they
get a lot of fucking phone calls.
You should be getting a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, because this is something that is a necessity. Like like you mentioned already, the transition for the rest of the city, because downtown is going to be affected because of government, because of money, and because of politics. But the rest of the city though is only going to be prosperous if our schools are prosperous.
That's it,
I mean, that's the only way. So definitely you should be getting called. They should be beating the dough down.
Hell yeah, that's right.
And hey, get them the website one more time, dog.
Yeah. This schooldaysfoundation.org, but that's a lot for the donations, but go on School Days with ET on Instagram. That's at School Days with ET. Check out what we're doing there. There are posts there. You can get more information from there too. School Days with ET. Check out that hashtag. You'll see a little bit of what we're doing, and we posting more, man. E is on the road right now doing some stuff with it. In a couple of other districts. He's got a huge program, man, down in Florida that AT&T sponsors. So it's starting to pick up momentum.
That's what's up, dog. All right, on that note, man, we done heard everything about you and shit. We done talked about motivational speaking. We done talked about, we talked about the whole school thing, the initiative coming up. So what we want you to leave us with, right? You already know, right? A couple of notes, dog. You gotta leave us with a couple of notes, bro. Hit us with a couple of notes on our way out, dog.
Be more careful.
You got to be more careful. You already knew what's gonna happen, dog. We gonna go out on some notes, but we gonna let him sing the show out. So I'm gonna end the show here by saying thank y'all for checking us out today, man. Of course, you got your boy the Hood, Howard Stern, Q Lewis holding it down, my man Monk Money, and on the way out, we got my man Derrick Williams. Thanks again for stopping through the block, and he about to hit y'all with a couple of notes. Yeah. Right, you need some water?
Should I spark up for it?
No, you might mess up his stomach.
I've had some good days, and I've had some hills to climb, and I've had some weary days and sleepless nights. But when I look around and think things over, all of my good days, they outweigh my bad days, and I won't complain.
That's what's up, y'all. My man D Wheels on the block, man.
I ain't no boy.
Check y'all out next time, man. Peace out, y'all.
Boy, that boy good.
Nice.
And I've had some hills to climb, and I've had some weary days sleepless nights.